I know y'all all know and y'all can appreciate the significance of the Constitution and what it does for our country and why our country is so different from the rest of the countries in the world. No other country has a constitution like ours. And one of the things that make the Constitution or keep the Constitution adhesive and together, and you may disagree with some of the rulings, but that's the process, is an independent judiciary. It is the bedrock of keeping that together. And even further of that bedrock is the jury system. We are one of only a handful of countries that utilize this type of jury system, and no country does it the way we do. That's the system that puts the power back with the people. If you look at all the countries, just think of Russia, China, North Korea, Iran. They have no system in place like this. Why? For good reason, because it strips the power and the protections from the people, and it puts it with a hierarchy that can demand how they want things done. And that's why it's very important. And I'm going to deviate just a little bit. I'm going to talk really about some criminal, but how many of y'all, when I go speak to kids at school, they'll ask me, like, what type of law do you think is the most important? And I give them an answer that oftentimes surprises them. How many of you in this room think that you could defend a child rapist? Anybody? That's a sobering question, isn't it? What about somebody that rapes a nun? What about somebody that kills multiple people? In Iran or Russia, or sometimes they just subjectively choose who get a fair trial or who get representation. Many countries do that. We don't do that. We give each person a representation to ensure that the process works. Now, it doesn't always come out fair. There's always going to be situations and examples to where you think somebody didn't get a fair shake, but at least we have a process. And typically I'll tell the kids, part of my profession that oftentimes I respect the most is the criminal defense side. And most of y'all would have been shocked by that, because most of y'all see some of these criminals being defended. And you're like, how in the world could you check your morals at the door and defend that person? Because most of those people are not subscribing to what the person did. They're subscribing to a belief that our Constitution is so unique that it provides protections, it provides a process. And that if you didn't have people there to do that, if you didn't have a jury system in place to provide that process, then how would we be any different than 95% of the countries out there that provide no protections? So I just wanted to add that and have y'all think about that. And that's why the civics education in our mind is so important whenever we try to emphasize that part.